Hello.
Hi, Jan Eric. I think let's get started with the few people that are there, and others can join us as we go along. Since you have the camera on, Jan Eric, why don't you tell us where you volunteer within the chapter?
Yeah, sure. I'm volunteering on the education program, so around providing training, project management training, and in whatever. I mean, I haven't really done much except planting trees last year, but that's why I volunteered for.
That's good. Yeah, last year has been a bit different than other years, I'd say.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks for that. How long have you been with the chapter?
Since I arrived in Kenya, which is a year and a half.
Ah, okay. I've been in Kenya slightly longer than you.
Yes.
I've been here for 28 years almost.
Yeah, yes, that's quite longer indeed.
Yes. Good, thanks for that. Let's move on to the next person. I think the next one to come in was Jeanette Jerry. Hey, Jeanette, just unmute yourself.
My sound, yes. Yeah. So what's the...
Just tell us a little bit in which part of the chapter are you volunteering?
Oh, well, the events space, which has been uneventful physically. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's good. How long have you been with the chapter?
Wow. Actively, could say about 3 years, but joined, I think, previously, like, I think 2015, thereabout.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too, because I remember seeing your name on the list.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been
good. Thanks for that,
great.
Jeanette. Then let's move on to Jacqueline. Jacqueline, tell us a little bit of who you are and which area of the chapter you're volunteering. Just unmute yourself.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, you hear me? Thank you so much. My name is Jacqueline. I volunteer with the chapter on the Pmi EF, that is Pmi Educational Foundation. I joined the chapter in 2018. Hello? Am I still being heard?
No, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm traveling, so I might lose network here and there. I hope I've said what I was required to say.
Yeah, you have. Sorry, I was
All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Where do we go next? Irene, why don't you introduce yourself?
Irene, me? Okay.
I
thought you were going in order of the people who joined, so I was trying not to let me see if my mic works. If my yes. For some reason today my laptop has been on. Right. So hi everyone, my name is Irene. I was actually holding the volunteer docket before Stephanie came in, so I'm really happy to have her here. So karibuni sana.
Asante. Good. Thanks for that, Irene. I know you have been with the chapter since it began, more or less. let's see, who haven't we had? Jacqueline. No, Jacqueline has talked. Janet. Just introduce yourself and let us know which area you're volunteering within the chapter. Janet, are you with us?
Hello, Stephanie.
Yes.
Yes, I actually heard you. You can give me a few minutes. You can go to the next person. I need to sort out my speaker. I'm actually hearing like it's so low. I don't know whether it's just for me that is the volume is low.
Is that for everyone or just for me?
Volume is fine on my end.
Okay.
Then I need to sort out my end.
Good. Let's see who else is there. Jean, I'll get to you later. Let's go to Lawrence. Lawrence, just introduce yourself and let us know which area are you volunteering in.
Okay. Hello, I'm Lawrence
Hi.
Mbugwa, and my area is project management. So I've just recently joined the volunteering side of things, but I've been a member of PMI for a while.
Good. Thanks. Good to see you, Lawrence. Long time.
Good to see you again, Stephanie, and good to see you back in the leadership after a while.
Thanks. Good.
Right.
Then let's go on to Malcolm.
Hi, good evening. Just joined and my phone is low on charge. I'm in traffic just from the office.
Okay, then now put your on.
Yeah, I'm volunteering. I'm in the project management volunteer group as well.
Okay, that's Pmi EF, yeah?
Yeah.
At least that's where I see your name. Good. Who else have we left out? Good. I think, Jean, it's your time to introduce yourself.
Hi, Steph. Thanks for putting this together, and thanks for giving us all a chance to introduce ourselves. My name is Jean Mathenge. For those of you who know me, probably you saw a lot of me last year. Maybe I'll just show my face here so that everybody can see. There we go. Okay. I think you saw me last year a lot in the VP Education and Professional Development. I know a lot of people who are volunteering. Probably we met in one way or another in the events because we ran a lot of events last year. This year I've got a new docket. You probably don't know that we have had a couple of changes on the board, and I'll be your president, and I'm going to be serving as your president. So I'm really happy that one of the things that Steph is doing as our new VP is having a meetup with the volunteers, which really is a very good first for us. So Stephanie, I'm really glad, and we're here to support. I don't know whether you wanted me to do my my presentation now or later. You let me know.
I'll give you your slot after my first presentation. Okay, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Have we left out anybody? I can see Ahmed is there. Ahmed, just switch on your camera briefly if you can and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Ahmed, in charge of VP Education and Professional Development. Before that, I was the coordinator for Career and Talent Development. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Ahmed. That is one of the changes that Jean will also tell us a bit more about. Thanks, Ahmed. We can move on to the next person. Edwin, just introduce yourself and tell us which area you're volunteering in.
Hi,
Edwin?
guys.
Hi.
My name is Edwin. I'm in project management.
That's Pmi EF.
Yes.
Because I think we're all in project management. Okay, thank you. Welcome, Edwin. Next one is Karungari. Karungari, are you there? Ashoki? Okay, let's see who else is there. Anybody else I've left out? Nelson, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Why don't you show your face briefly and then I'll tell
I wasn't prepared to show my face.
I really want to see you.
Just give me 1 minute.
Okay. So Nelson is one of the representatives in the PMI Dubai office. Yes, please. Janet, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Maybe as Nelson wears his wig, I can come in.
Please do.
Yeah, my name is Janet Mbula. I'm the one in charge of the liaison, the PMIF liaison. I've been with the chapter. I got certified in 2012. I didn't know about the chapter till 2013. And that's when I became a member of the chapter. So I've been in the chapter since that time when we were meeting in town. We went to Kiwi Hotel, we went to Saroba, and it's been a long journey. I think for me, it's you can see the growth in the chapter if you look back from where we started. At least now we've even been able to formalize our volunteers. This is a good start for us. I think Irene was struggling was it 2019 we were struggling to set up the system so that now we can recruit formally and have people in the system. So at least from where I sit, I can see the growth and appreciate the effort being put by everybody. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. This is the spirit of volunteering, and I wish everybody a good session. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Janet. Nelson, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Finally, the face behind the emails.
Yeah.
Maybe just say briefly what you do within PMI.
Yeah. Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm glad to be here today. My name is Nelson Garissa, and I'm the chapter administrator for the region. I work with the chapters in Africa, specifically Sub-Saharan Africa. So I know we've met some of the volunteers from the chapter. We met, I think, in Tanzania for the conference. Yeah, so I'm glad to be here. I'm also the face behind the conference, the Africa conference, with my colleagues. Yeah, among other things. So I'm so grateful that the chapter is doing this to just bring every volunteer together and just kick it off. Yeah. So I'm here and I'm here to support. Thank you.
That's great. And I find it really exciting that the Dubai office right now has at least 2 Kenyans I know of. Because you and Anthony,
yes,
yeah, are go-to people when we need any information from PMI and any help with anything. Yeah, thanks for that, Nelson. Now you can disappear again.
I will do so. Thanks.
Good. Now I'm planning to attack a few people just to get to know each other a little bit better. Oh, I can see another new face. Not new, but new to the meeting. Elvira, why don't you introduce yourself just with your name and which section you are volunteering in?
Good evening, everybody. Glad to be here. I don't know whether you're getting me.
Yes,
but
we are.
My name is Elvira Mundy. I volunteer within the Career and Talent Committee. Yeah, we've worked together with the team since last year, and it's really been a pleasure to serve. and to get to know much more about PMI and more ways that you guys could serve and make also the lives of others better within the project management arena. Thank you so much.
Thanks for that, Elvira. Great. Anybody else that hasn't spoken yet? Lynette, I can see you. Lynette, why don't you tell us who you are within Pmi Kenya chapter?
Hi, I'm Lynette. I've been VP Marketing and Communications for the last 3 years, going to 4. I got certified 5 years ago, and I've enjoyed being a volunteer for the chapter.
Great. And I see a few more people. Valerie, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Why don't you just tell us your full names and in which section you volunteer? I know your volunteering has also been coronat.
Yes. My name is Valerie Kroda. Volunteering in the legal department, so I'm legal liaison, and looking forward to volunteering and serving.
Thanks, Valerie. She has actually been on the volunteer list for a year, but we never managed to induct her because of Corona.
Yeah.
And, the legal section falls under the secretary. And I see another board member, Stephen. Stephen, are you there? Gedinchi?
Yes, I am.
You're a bit faint.
Why?
That's better.
Is it better?
Yeah, that's better.
No, and now? Better now?
Definitely.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Now we can't hear you anymore. Okay, Stephen was elected the same time I was elected, and he is our VP membership. Good. I think that's everybody. And I think since time has moved on, it's already 6:30. Let me just go on with the presentation.
Stephanie?
Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay, great. Sorry. I got lost. I was in Google Meet. I went wandering in Google Meet.
Yeah, apologies. I think I gave people the impression we are on Google Meet because I hadn't double checked. Sorry.
Not worry. I was someone came looking for me and found me there. And asked having a great year.
Okay.
That was me, Rashoki.
I suspected as much. Okay, Stephen, we only see
We were
the
many, so I had to rope it up.
That's more like it.
That's better.
Yes, hi, Stephen. Good to see you.
I can improve my writing. Let me improve my writing. Good to go.
Yep. Tell us what you do. I only told them that you're the VP membership, but just 2 sentences.
Good. Yes. So my name is Stephen Gedenji. I'm one of the youngest kids in the block of the board membership. I'm in charge of the membership docket. In terms of having volunteers, I think I feel orphaned because I only have one. I'm looking forward to having volunteers joining the membership docket. And allow me to say that currently the key goals for the chapter revolve around membership. We have a high target to grow membership and retention. So I'm looking forward to having many volunteers in the membership docket.
Great, thanks for that, Stephen. Good.
Okay, then you're most welcome, Stephanie.
Okay, let me move into the first presentation. As I said, this time I'll give you more of an overview, but in our next meetups, we will go deeper into into what volunteer opportunities are there in PMI and what else, where else can you move to? Where else can we volunteer ourselves? What are the benefits of volunteering and so on? Today is just a high level overview. So let me tell you welcome in many, many languages. And in my language, in German, we say willkommen. And the agenda for this meeting, for this presentation, is just a fly through the Kenya chapter history. What is volunteerism? What is our mission and vision? What are the values? What is the mandate of the chapter? Then I show you the high-level chapter org chart. And then I'll talk a little bit about volunteer opportunities, and then some of the housekeeping we'll have to do in the next few weeks, and a little bit about the volunteers docket. I hope you all can see the slides.
Yes, you can.
Good. So the Kenya chapter history in a nutshell. The chapter was first registered in 2012 as a society in Kenya, and we started the process with being chartered with PMI, which is a lengthy process. It took us about 2 years. So we were fully chartered in 2014.
No, I'm just listening to someone.
Somebody, mic on, can you mute your?
You're not getting the sound.
Stephanie, I think your mic is on mute. We can't hear you.
Okay, I have no idea what happened. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, and you can see the slide?
Yes, and your face.
And my face, wow. So I was saying the chapter was registered in 2012. And at that time, we started now the process with PMI to get the chapter fully chartered. Registered means that we were registered with PMI as a potential chapter, but also with the Registrar of Societies in Kenya as a society. Then the chapter was fully chartered in 2014. And coincidentally, that's the same year when Sub-Saharan Africa became the Region 16. Since then, Kenya has actually grown to be one of the largest chapters in Africa. I think at that time we were 5 chapters that were fully chartered, and there were 2 that were potential chapters. So we only had about 6-7 chapters in Africa at that time. Just a few tidbits about volunteerism. One of the things that PMI is about in its volunteering is project management impact. The project management is a critical competence that has a positive influence on the organization's results and society. And another important factor is professionalism. It's about accountability and ethical behavior to ensure our commitment to the PMI stakeholders. And of course, the volunteerism. PMI is built by volunteers and it's built around volunteers. At the moment, we have over 10,000 volunteers worldwide, which is quite a number if you think of it. And the volunteers and effective volunteer partnerships with the staff of PMI, with people like Nelson, are the best way to accomplish the Constitution's goals and objectives. And of course, volunteering is also about community. It's about bringing members of the global project management community together to advance the project management profession. And to me, volunteering for PMI has opened up so many doors. When I first became a project manager or a full-time project manager, I was thrown in the deep end, and I hadn't even understood that I'd been doing projects all my life. And I had to learn fast because I was even tasked with setting up a PMO. And so joining first the PMI Kenya chapter and then getting to know the global community was really eye-opening, and I've met so many people that have mentored me along the way. So volunteering was actually one of the best things I ever did. Then, of course, it's about engagement, and especially PMIEF shows us how engagement is done, but of course the other dockets as well. It encourages diverse viewpoints and enables individuals to contribute to the project management profession and to the institute, of course. One of the things that we need to remember is that each member of PMI and each volunteer and each PMP certified person or any PMI certification is bound by the Pmi Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. Later in the year, we'll have also a session about the Code of Ethics. The Code of Ethics revolves about 4 main values, and that's honesty, responsibility, respect, and fairness. And these drive the ethical conduct for the project management profession and the chapter operations. Good. Now the Kenya chapter, of course, has a vision and a mission. The vision is to make Pmi Kenya, Pmi Kenya chapter will make project management a national competence and valuable professions to transform and bring synergy among individuals and organizations. And the mission is to promote and advance the profession and science of project management in Kenya, to provide leadership and to foster a sense of community among practitioners for effective service delivery. I noted that actually on our chapter website, we still have the old mission and vision. So we need to sort that out, but I only noted that yesterday. So we'll forward that to the relevant team to have that changed. Good, and our values that we focus on in everything that we do is integrity, service, inclusivity, professionalism, and collaboration. And when I see these 5 values, all I think of is servant leadership, which I think some of you know is one of my pet topics. So let me not get started in it today. But these are the values, and we'll be talking about them a bit more in the other sessions. The mandate of the chapter is to foster professionalism in the management of projects, contribute to the quality and scope of project management, stimulate appropriate global application of project management to the benefit of the general public, and to provide a recognized forum for the free exchange of ideas, applications, and solutions to project management issues among its members and others interested and involved in project management. And the last point of the mandate is to identify and promote the fundamentals of project management and advance the body of knowledge for managing projects successfully. I'm taking you through this in a very high speed, but I will share the presentation later with you in PDF format. Now, this is the Pmi Kenya chapter organizational chart at this point. Of course, I've not put all the names, otherwise it would have been very small and very long. But there is certain positions that have a double N there. That means at the moment we have nobody in those positions. However, I think let's start here with the president in the middle. Oops, I'm sorry, I always do that in presentations. So you have Jean Madenga as the president. And above you see an advisory position, which is the immediate past president. However, the immediate past president is not in a position to volunteer there because he is an ATP, meaning an authorized training partner. And with the new regulations, they cannot be among the volunteers in the chapter or on the chapter board. And the same is, okay, there's also a position for president-elect, who is usually elected a year before the term of the president finishes. So at the right time, we will announce an election for a president, and there will be president-elect for the first year and then have his normal 2 years in office as president. That is so that we have a transition period. And in the first year, when they're president-elect, the president hands over slowly responsibilities. Then you see these 2 orange boxes. These are special positions, which are not elected board members, but these are appointed people. One is the Director Special Projects, that is David Kangara. He deals with special projects that we're working on, like at the moment, we're trying to also get involved with the attempts to have a bill in Parliament so that we can have some legislation around project management. And then we have Pmi EF. Janet has talked to us already, and we have quite a few from her team here. So Pmi EF is basically, the liaison is basically the voice of Pmi EF in the country and in the chapter. And she has quite a big team because they've been very active, not just planting trees, hopefully this year, but we've done quite a few other things as well. And then we have the Vice President Finance, which is Patrick Mona. And of course, there is a team with him. Then there is the Secretary, Ron Keffer. We heard Valerie say that she is in his team. And we have the Vice President Events, which is Irene Irungu with her team. We have the Vice President Education and Professional Development, which is now Abdul Rahman Ahmed. And the Vice President Membership, Stephen Gedinji, of course, both with their teams. And then we have the Vice President Marketing and Communications, that is Lynette Ayuko. And we also have the Director Communications, because in the long run, we want to separate marketing and communication from each other because it's a very big docket. And at this point, we think it's the right point to separate it into two different dockets. So of course, we have the marketing team and we have a communications team. My apologies, I forgot to put Ken's name here. The Director of Communications is Ken. Sorry, what is his name? Second name, Milugo. Yeah, Ken Milugo. And then the last docket is volunteers, where I'm the Vice President, and TBR means to be recruited. I don't have a team at this point, but I'll be putting out some positions soon. Good. Volunteering opportunities. Within PMI, you have a lot of different opportunities that can be either on the chapter level, on the regional level, on the global level. They can be short-term positions or long-term positions. And that's where VRMS is your friend. And the best thing is to learn to use it. I'll show you in a minute where the easiest way is to access it. As a chapter, we have decided that all positions will be advertised in the VRMS. And there are also several teams that are building up dockets. The teams that I'm aware of right now, that they're looking for volunteers and they're defining the roles, and we will be advertising them in the next few weeks. It's the President's docket, the Secretary's docket, Membership docket, and of course the Volunteers docket. Others may also follow. And that's where it's also important, if you want a change, to keep a lookout for new positions. To assess the VRMS, the easiest is when you go into the PMI website and you go into your dashboard and you find this convenient button here. Just click on that, find an opportunity, and it takes you straight into the VRMS. When you're in the VRMS, you can then go to your account and look where it says areas of interest. And when you click on select areas of interest, you can actually tick which areas you want to get alerts for. So for example, as you can see, I have ticked a few that are chapter development, academic outreach, evaluator, facilitator, because those are areas that I have volunteered in. You can tick as many as you want to, or as few as you want to. And that way you make sure that if there's any opportunity posted, either locally or globally or regionally, it will pop up in your email and you'll get a chance to apply for these positions. Now, I said there's a bit of housekeeping that we need to do. One is some paperwork. And what we want to introduce now is that all volunteers sign a few documents. One is a conflict of interest document, where you just confirm that you are not in any form with conflict of interest. I think even in the next session, we'll talk about the next meetup, we'll talk about it a little bit more. And then another one is, of course, confidentiality, because as a volunteer, you get to see certain things that are not meant for the public. And of course, there is an NDA that we want people to sign. As board members, we also sign them every year. And if there's any other chapter specific documentation that needs to be signed, for example, the ones working in the finance docket may have to sign other things and may have to get other permissions. So these are things that we will be working on in the near future. Then any role related items, your docket head will advise you. I hope your vice president has started meeting with you this year. And I know some of them have been very active in trying to engage their team. Now here's some chapter contact information for the volunteers. First of all, I put Jean Madenge's number here so that you know how to reach her, and of course my own phone number. And then make sure you have the phone number for your docket head for your vice president. Sorry, let me leave that a little bit longer. Do you guys have any questions about this particular slide?
Hiya, Steph, I have a question. This is Gashoki.
Yes.
At which point did Jean become the chair president? My goodness. Connie, where have I been? I thought this other guy, Dr. Somebody, was Wanjagi, was the president.
Yeah, as Jean mentioned earlier, she will talk about that.
We were on meet at that time, so we didn't hear.
Yeah,
we're on the other side.
There's a few things that have occurred, so we had to do a few changes, but the official announcement has not been made yet.
Ah, okay.
So it's not that you missed the communication. Okay, any other questions? Good, then let's look at the volunteers docket. The activities that I envision at this point will be all around focusing on establishing the docket, build up on the work that Irene has done. She had a double docket before, and so of course her time was limited, but she has done quite a bit of work in now establishing the systems and so on. And now I can get to doing the practical things that she didn't have time for. So this is now putting the systems and processes in place, is of course building up on whatever Irene had done and expanding if necessary. Then of course I want to recruit a team of volunteers who help me, because the more volunteers I have, the less time each of us needs to invest, but also the easier it will be for you guys to reach us when you need to. And overall, I want to create a space for you as volunteers to feel at home, a place where you can come and talk if you have any grievances, any issues, or any things that you don't want to discuss with your docket head or your vice president. And of course, I want to be a corner of volunteering knowledge, because there's so much in the world of volunteering within PMI that a lot of people are not so aware of. And so I'm also planning some sessions with all members and also sessions with you guys, so that you know a bit more in depth what is really out there in the world of PMI. And then another focus will be on developing an improved transition process for both board positions and other volunteer positions. So if somebody leaves a position and someone else moves in, there needs to be some kind of a handover, and we need to formalize that a little bit to make it more effective. And the way I have spread it out over the year, in Q1, which is almost finished, I wanted to meet all of you. Unfortunately, Corona has said we need to meet online, but as soon as it's safe for all of us, we will have a face-to-face meeting. And then I want to establish regular meetings, and we want to start recruitment of volunteers for all dockets. And then in Q2, I want to work on defining the policies, give info to all members about volunteering, and give info to volunteers about additional offers for volunteers. And then I want to revamp orientation program for volunteers and start continue with recruitment of volunteers. What PMI actually does is that as a way of paying back for your volunteering, there is quite a lot of events and so on that are happening, and we want to make sure that you guys get involved wherever you can. There is some that are more for board members and more senior positions in the volunteering hierarchy, which I show you in a little bit as well, how that hierarchy looks like. And but there is a lot of things that we can start and we will start sharing with you. Then in Q3, I want to establish an escalation system for issues and develop a transition system for both board members and normal volunteers. The reason I want to do that in Q3 is so that by the time we have elections in Q4, that system is in place. And then I want to also start double checking that everything that we are doing is in alignment with the global policy. And in Q4, we want to start looking into developing a mentorship program for volunteers, so that hopefully next year we can start rolling that out, where then more experienced volunteers can mentor the ones that are just starting to volunteer or want to learn more in certain areas. Good. I keep getting questions about PDUs. One thing that we'll also start doing this year is that we'll start uploading PDUs for volunteer work per year. And in your 3-year certification cycle, you can have up to 25 PDUs for giving back, which is about 8 PDUs a year. However, that can be split into different areas. One is volunteering. Another one is creating knowledge. So like if you write an article or you do a presentation or you do some official mentoring, you can then also be given PDUs for that or claim PDUs for that. And then working as a professional, you can also claim up to a maximum of 8 PDUs. So you see all these 3 areas add up to the 25 PDUs that you can claim in your 3-year cycle. Then chapter events, usually you can earn a PDU as long as there is a talk there. Yeah, so some knowledge has to be shared for it to qualify as a PDU. So tree planting alone, unfortunately, does not qualify for a PDU in the knowledge areas, but it can qualify for PDU in volunteering. And what Irene and her team do is that if you have signed up with your PMI ID, then the PDU is updated within the next few weeks after the event. And you will find an email in your inbox saying that it has been sent. And once it's approved, you'll get a second email saying that it has been approved. Do you guys have any more questions about PDUs, or did I confuse you completely now?
Stephanie?
Yeah?
You might want to clarify what happens if the event does not go under the normal membership events system, where maybe the group did independently or someone did independent of the group.
What kind of events are you talking of? Just give me an
Like
example.
if someone did the mentoring and the coaching independent of the events team. The one someone has to log in by themselves and claim the PDU as an individual. That one.
Okay, then you go into the system and you enter it by hand. Just be aware that you can always be audited on that one, yeah? Which means, like, I have also logged in trainings I've attended in the past that were not PMI trainings and events, but because they were project management related, I was able to do that. You just need to give the details. If there is a website for the company that is doing that, you give that, and any details it asks you for. If PMI needs more information before they give you the PDU, they will get back to you. And then will you will just be asked to provide the information that they need to confirm that. At times they will also reach out to the provider. So like, or in a case of mentorship, they may reach out to your confirm that has happened. But I have actually, in all the years that I've been claiming Pdus, never had a problem. And usually I have enough Pdus from the trainings and conferences and volunteering and working and so on, that I never had to claim any for mentoring. When it comes to presentations, if your presentation is the usual about 1 hour where you talk for 45 minutes and then there's Q&A for 15 minutes, then you can claim 1 PDU for it. I have tried out claiming articles. When I've written an article on projectmanagement.com, it was very simple. I just filled it in, said approximately how many hours I worked for that. Of course, you need to be realistic. And have sent in the claim, and it was approved actually within a day. Did that answer your question? Are there any more questions about PDUs? Good, then let's move on. I think the most important thing for all of us, let's have some fun together as we're volunteering, and let's learn more about volunteering. As the back of this t-shirt says, PMI volunteers are out of this world. And to me, it is, you actually become a family, and as you get to know all the volunteers around, not all of them, but a lot of volunteers around the world or within the region, it becomes a lot more fun, and you really feel like you belong. Good, thank you. With that, I want to hand over to Jean to tell us a little bit more about what the chapter is planning this year. Jean, are you ready?
Hi, Stephanie. Thanks. Thank you very much for that. That was really useful. I think that this being the first time that we're having such a good and a formal meeting with the volunteers, this is an excellent opportunity for us to meet. Are you still sharing your view, your machine? Let me see. I wanted to share something.
No, I've stopped sharing.
Okay.
I've stopped sharing.
Can I go ahead and share?
Please do.
Okay. Can you all see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay, a lot of what Stephanie has said actually is very good. Is a very good prelude to what I wanted to say. And actually, this group is probably the first group that is hearing about the early changes that have happened in the chapter from a leadership perspective. The changes have been just, the change is always good, and when people come in and out, then we can be able to strengthen the teams. So if you'll allow me, ladies and gentlemen who are volunteers, and I'm really happy that we can have this conversation. Maybe I'll just steer you very, very briefly through some of the things that we're going to focus on. Stephanie has focused on what what she's looking at in the volunteer department, and I'll just give you a quick glimpse of some of the things that we've added. If you see what the small thing at the bottom is, if we do well in what we are purposed to do together we will deliver value to our members. And for me, I see that if we can focus on that as a team, and especially with the volunteers, I think that we can be able to do a lot more this year, just as well as we did the last year. Steph has already gone through this about the Pmi Kenya chapter. We were registered in 2012, chartered in 2014. But what I wanted to kind of highlight or to point out are those groups that you can see down there. That we have got a lot of active special interest groups. the credential seekers, and a lot of you are in them. Women in Projects, Agile Kenya, Built, and the Built Environment. We've got PMI Kenya groups, and the groups continue to grow. And even as we were talking with the board, because we had a meeting in February and we really talked about how we can energize some of these groups, we realized we need a lot of help. We need a lot of help. Just the profile of PMI Kenya, for those of you who probably maybe don't have too much information about the insides, we are over 400, but about 60% of our membership is really active. And 54% of our members are credentialed. The biggest credential being the PMP. And last year we did so much work. We leveraged a lot of the the discounts that came in, and we increased our PMP numbers. In fact, towards the end of December, and these numbers don't include the December numbers, where we had one person becoming credentialed every day of December, and that is attributed to a lot of work that was going on in the groups. A lot of work, even you saw from Abdul, the new VP for Education and Professional Development, because what we were doing is that we were running a lot of events, also with the events team, trying to promote a certification. This year, we're going to be trying to continue to promote the PMP, and then we're also going to be looking at Agile. Most of you who are already in the Agile groups will see that there's quite a bit of activity that's happening. And we're also going to look at CAPM, the CAPM. As you can see, we're only 7, and we want to increase that. So those are some of the statistics or the profile of our chapter. Stephanie did a good job of showing the organogram. These are the faces that you're going to see if you've not already seen them. And I'm missing 3 faces here. Abdul, who is a VP Education and Professional Development where I was, and Stephen Githinji, and Ken, who is our new Director of Communications. How did this board now become so different? And going to Gashoki's question about when did Jean become president? Earlier this year, we got a resignation from the previous president, who was Wanjagi, and he resigned so that he could be able to pursue some of his other, being an ATP. If you notice, and we've seen it on LinkedIn, he has become an authorized training provider, and that was a direct conflict with being in the leadership. So being in the leadership of a chapter, you cannot also become a trainer, and you cannot become an authorized training provider. So he made a choice that was good for his business, and we support him in his ATP business. And so that is how we got reshuffled. And so I had to give up the VP Education and Professional Development, as the board is, there was a decision in January that was made, and we had to fill in the slot. So I will be sitting as your president for this year. And Ron is going to continue to sit as your secretary. Muna is still going to be our VP Finance. Irene is in events, and we've got Stephanie. And Stephanie, I'm so sorry I missed you on this one, on this particular screen, but you're there as a volunteer for our VP volunteers, and this is the first time we're having Stephanie. You probably haven't seen David, but you've heard from Janet and you've heard from Lynette and Abdul. So what are we trying to steer the board to do, or what are we going to do as a chapter this year? From the president's side, there are 3 areas or 3 goals that I would like you just to understand how. Because really the president's docket supports the chapter, and for us we are supposed to stay on point in terms of what we've promised with the charter and what we've promised with the bylaws. And so the 3 areas that we're going to focus on are governance, unity, and value. And in terms of governance, we're really looking to make sure that we're complying with the bylaws, which is really a responsibility of the president's docket, and to make sure that actually from an ethics, the conflict of interest and all the prudent spending, the reporting, and all that is going to be done properly, so that we can have, we can stay true to, to the credibility that we've built as a chapter and as Kenyans. And the second one is in unity, which is very much a unity in purpose. And here we're really looking at trying to build more cohesion in the chapter, trying to strengthen our networks, showing up if there's going to be, if there are events, trying to show a lot of teamwork, and appreciation, and trying to build more strength in our member community. And we're looking to also be, results driven, in the sense that if we are having, what are we trying to achieve, and can we focus on it? Because at the end of the year, we'll be asking, what did we achieve? From a value perspective, we want to give more value to our members, ladies and gentlemen. And this is where maybe, you'll see a lot of our, this is one of our core services when we sign up with PMI, is what kind of value are we giving to our members? And so we're looking at it in terms of performance. We have to do really well. We have to strengthen our knowledge, increase the opportunities. And one of the areas in the opportunities and in the growth and inclusivity is in the volunteer docket. So this year we have purposed as a board to increase the opportunities. Last year we brought in we brought in a good number of new PMPs, and everybody is looking for, what can I do? What do I do next as a PMP? Or what do I do next as an ACP? What is my participation in the chapter? And giving people opportunities to volunteer is the best way that we can grow people and help them also to understand about project management, what is the chapter about, and also to strengthen leadership and to increase our capacity for succession. So that is really what we are what we are about, and all the dockets are now, have got their own separate visions. And for me, I'm supporting, the chapter in that particular way. The big number that you see there, volunteers are at the heart of PMI, as you always hear. And the PMI is always asking everybody to get involved, make a difference by being a volunteer. And that is what Stephanie's message today has really been. That big number that you can see there, 10,000, that is about as many people as who volunteer in PMI. And they're more than that, because this was what they appreciated. The 10,000 volunteers is who they appreciated just the other day. And so for us in the Kenya chapter, we're about, Stephanie, are we about maybe just about 20 people who are volunteering? Did we get everybody in? So
including the board, right now we are 40 people.
We are 40 people, can you imagine? And so there's a lot of opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, volunteers. There's a lot of opportunity for us also to grow the teams, and not just to, to keep it really tight, but actually to make it, to make this team even bigger, so that we can make the chapter operations even more effective. I wanted to show you this slide so that you can see just how much time each of the volunteer dockets are putting into the chapter every month. And you can see that it ranges from about a maximum of about 40 hours to a minimum of about 15 maybe to 10 hours. And I can tell you that this is probably just a general, it came from the delineation study that was conducted by PMI, but a lot of the times you'll find that you're spending a lot more time. And these are just for the board member roles in the chapter. And so when the docket leaders are looking to, to boost their teams and to try and get more people, it's because they just cannot do it by themselves. And this is the importance of having the volunteer teams, ladies and gentlemen, is so that we can be able to run all these dockets, more effectively, more efficiently, give more value, and so on. All the good things that we're trying to do with this chapter. So we really need the volunteers. You guys are a big and invaluable part of what we're trying to do. My challenge, I don't want to make this very long, because we are going to be having an AGM. I hope everybody has received the AGM notice. The AGM meeting is going to be on the 15th. Please help us where you can as volunteers so that we can make this successful. And so for me, my challenge to you would be to show up. And when you show up positively. Show up with a good view, so that when Stephanie is calling, or when your docket leaders are calling, you just show up with a positive spirit and give your best. Participate in terms of, don't just show up and be there physically, but you have to show up and actually talk and see how you can contribute and make yourself felt. Define yourself as a volunteer, be a team player. And when I say that you stay informed, we have a lot of questions that are popping up on our groups where people are asking a lot of questions. Please don't let it be that it's only the board members who have to, to respond. As a volunteer, because you have a lot of information about PMI, and this is our challenge to you, is that go to pmi.org and learn about what PMI and the chapter is all about. And if there are any questions, then be the resource. Stay informed and be the resource, and continue to give out information so that everybody is contributing, and it's not just a small team that is contributing. The most important is that you also share your feedback. Please, we're very fortunate this year to have Stephanie as our VP of Volunteers, and that means that she's a point person for anything that you would like to give. And remember, feedback is either positive, it can be, we call negative positive opportunities. So feel free to give whatever comments that you would like. This is really key for us so that we can improve and we can feel that also that we can also make everybody feel inclusive and that your points and your viewpoints do matter. So for me, my part in short is back to what I'm saying on the governance, the unity and the value, is that if we do well in what we're purposed to do, together we can deliver value to our members. Stephanie, that's all I had, and I don't know whether anybody has got any questions, but I'm here as, you know, even though the new responsibilities are here, I'm here to support everybody, and you can call me. I can see my number was put out there. I've been fielding a lot of calls last year, and so this year I'm very much in tune with that. So feel free to call me in case you have any questions. Thanks, Stephanie. That's all I had.
Thanks for that presentation. If you stop sharing, then we can continue in the program. Does anybody have questions at this point? Okay, I don't see any raised hands and nobody unmuted. So let's continue. With another short presentation about volunteer programs. Are you able to see the first slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So if you volunteer with PMI, the more you give, the more you'll get. To me, that has really been true because the opportunities I've gotten with PMI through the volunteering is just amazing. Yeah. I mean, there's a bit later, I will talk about the Leadership Institute Master Program, Masterclass. That is a prestigious leadership training program that PMI offers to their board members. You have to be a chapter board member for that. And just because of writing articles on projectmanagement.com, I even got the opportunity to travel to Dublin for the PMI EMEA Congress 2 years ago and be a reporter there. And also the opportunities to go to the local leadership meetings and so on. And to me, it has really been very, very enriching. And a lot of the things that I learned through volunteering have also helped me in my profession. So let's look a little bit at how you can volunteer. Of course, you can contribute actually to the development of professional standards that shape the future of the profession. And that is two things. One is, for example, publications like the PMBOK Guide. It's prepared by volunteers, and then there is a whole another group of volunteers that make their comments on it. And before the PMBOK Guide comes out, like before the 7th edition came out, there was a lot of volunteers around the world that were involved there. So if you get excited about those kind of things, keep a lookout on the VRMS. These opportunities come out. Of course, PMBOK 7 is now basically ready for publication. But when it comes to PMBOK 8, you can get involved if you want to. Then, of course, as you are doing now, you're involved in the local PMI chapter and community. And from being a normal volunteer, you can also move on to becoming a board member. I was actually, I think, the first volunteer for the Pmi Kenya chapter that was not a board member. And that was back, I think it started in 2013 and then continued in 2014. I was the only volunteer, the first one. And then when it came to elections, which were now the first elections for the board, because the previous board members had been appointed during the time when the chapter was being chartered. Then I moved on into being a board member. Then you can actually influence the profession by writing and publishing white papers, articles, etc., reviewing project management manuals, books, and periodicals. These opportunities have a lot to do with what's happening on projectmanagement.com. Projectmanagement.com is a website that is fully owned by PMI and is basically the resource website. And as I mentioned already, I just started writing articles there because I wanted to learn how to write articles. And it's amazing the feedback you get. And suddenly you find even those people whose articles you admire are starting to respond to your articles and giving you advice and tips. And then, of course, I got this amazing opportunity where projectmanagement.com reached out to me and asked me whether I'd be interested in going to Dublin. But definitely you can have an influence there by writing about your experience, writing about how to solve problems in project management or in leadership. And what happens is you apply to write an article, and then actually on projectmanagement.com you just go and go and search, not Google, for contribute content, and then it asks you what kind of content you want to contribute. Then of course you need to know the difference between a white paper and an article and a blog. And you can also contribute things like templates that you find helpful. And then it's submitted and it's reviewed by some editors. If they want you to change something to make it sound better, maybe to have your article have more of a flow, they will get back to you and give you advice and guide you on how to rewrite your article. And then they'll let you know by when it will be published, once it's accepted. Of course, you can also use your opportunities to speak during the conferences and doing seminars, world and other things. And you can also help younger professionals build experience and grow careers. That's one of the things that we are also thinking about as a chapter on how to build up a mentorship program. Other chapters that are older than ours already have very mature programs that they're running. And in the Leadership Institute events, we can learn a lot from these chapters. Sorry. And so these are the different ways people can volunteer. I've also done volunteering for, like when I knew I couldn't go to the conference in Dar es Salaam and I wanted to somehow be part of it, I volunteered for reviewing the presentation submissions, which was highly interesting because you got access to all the presentations that were submitted, and then you were involved in the selection process. And later you were even reviewing the actual presentations to make sure that they are presentable and that they will really be helpful for the participants. And that was highly interesting. I've done the same also for Seminars World. And there's a lot of similar short-term volunteer positions. Those kind of positions, it's usually a couple of weeks. And you, of course, you get your Pdus for that. Then, as I said earlier, PMI's work is largely done by volunteers, which includes individuals that aim to enhance the profession in project management, reap the benefits of expanding connections. As I said, I have now what I call my PMI family, friends that I've met in the different events and so on around the world, friends that we just connected with virtually. Some of them I've never met them because we were collaborating in some of those volunteer positions. And it's amazing because when you have questions or you have an issue, even at your job, where you have a certain thing that you need to resolve in your project management career or in a special project or whatever, you just throw the question out there and somebody will respond and you will definitely get useful answers there. And of course, as I said, all these things that you learn and do as you're volunteering helps you leverage your career advancement opportunities. And it's actually thanks to volunteers that project management is recognized and valued by organizations around the world. There is thousands of PMI volunteers, and the chapters are fully run by volunteers. Some of the bigger chapters have employees, but the management is fully done by volunteers. And the more you give, the more you'll get. You can develop and sharpen vital new skills, including leadership, collaboration, team building techniques, etc. Like one of the things they did when we were doing the Leadership Institute Masterclass was put us in working groups that are deliberately 5 to 6 people from 5 to 6 different countries in different time zones. And for a lot of us, that was the first time we were experiencing a virtual team. You can imagine that really helped me now years later as we're having to go into working virtually in our office, because I was already used to using Zoom for meetings. I was already used to sharing documents and those kind of things. And that was thanks to PMI. And you can also gain experience in new areas of practice. I remember when David Kangara first stood for election, and he was elected to be the VP Marketing and Communication. He actually did that on purpose because he wanted to learn about marketing and communication. He wanted to improve in that area. And so he was elected the VP, and I can tell you in those 2 or 3 years, it was 4 years he was in that position. He learned a lot. And I know he's using it now even in his profession. And you build your professional network by developing mutual beneficial relationships with other project managers. I also remember when I was in a situation to have to recruit somebody in Tanzania who is PMP certified. My friends in the Pmi Tanzania chapter were my go-to people who helped me publish the job advert in the right circles. And we managed to do our recruitment through that. And then, of course, as you realize the fulfillment of volunteering, your time, you actually make a difference in the world around you. And I think one of the things we really need to learn to do is use the opportunities that the Leadership Institute offers. What we will start doing is every Monday, Anthony, who is the colleague of Nelson in the Dubai office, sends us updates from PMI, and we will start sharing them with you, so that you also have the latest information of what's happening within PMI and what are the latest developments. And PMI does surveys every year. So there's the normal membership survey that you may have been sent before, where they ask you about how happy are you with the chapter, how happy are you with PMI, and so on. And then there's also a survey for volunteers. And in that, they ask you also what is your volunteering experience, what are you learning, what is happening there. And when you get these surveys, please respond to them, because it helps PMI to also improve the services. And a lot of the people, the biggest majority consistently says that one of the benefits of volunteering is to build your professional network. Another benefit is to gain skills and experiences and to develop as a leader. So these are consistently among the top benefits that people are getting. Let's go back to PMI and the origins. PMI actually originated from volunteers. The first volunteers for PMI, before it even was called PMI, they were sitting around this particular dining room table. That was the first PMI headquarters. So that's where the PMI founders met and came up with the idea that we need an organization. First, they were going to call it something totally different, but they ended up calling it the Project Management Institute. And as we know, that is over 50 years ago. So basically, the first headquarters was a volunteers' dining room table. As Janet has already said, as a Pmi Kenya chapter, we have come a long way. We were first being hosted by Computer Pride. We used to have our meetings in one of their classrooms, and then we moved on to one hotel, and then we started having them in another hotel. And now we're doing them online, but I hope we can go back to meeting in hotels and meeting each other face to face in the near future. And today, PMI has a global operations center in Philadelphia or near Philadelphia, and that exists thanks to the thousands of volunteers that have contributed their time, efforts, and expertise. This is a picture of the global headquarters. We call it the GOC, Global Operations Center. But PMI also has offices around the world. There is the office in Dubai, which is for the Middle East and for Sub-Saharan Africa. There is 2 or 3 offices in Europe. There's an office in China. There is an office in several other parts of the world. And in those offices, you have now employees who are there to work with the volunteers to build PMI further. a quick browse through the history. In 1969, PMI is founded. In 1974, we had the first chapter in Houston, Texas. The first PMBOK guide was published in 1986. And the first North America leadership meeting was in 1994 with only 75 attendees. Now the last North America leadership meeting that I attended had over 3,000 people. You can see from 1994 to 2018, it has grown from 75 attendees to over 3,000 people from around the world. Then in 2002, they had the first Leadership Institute masterclass. Okay, that time the Leadership Institute was not yet formed, but they had a masterclass for leadership. Then they expanded the leadership meetings to EMEA, which means now they had one in North America and another one in the EMEA region. In 2007, the Leadership Institute department was formed. That department is purely there to support the leaders and help them grow as leaders. And we will tell you more in one of our next emails about the Leadership Institute meeting that will happen in April. And since it's a virtual meeting, it will be very easy to attend for you as well. So you will get the invitation. As a basic rule, to every regional conference or the global conference, immediately before the conference, there's a Leadership Institute meeting. So chapter leaders and selected volunteers can attend these meetings, and you get a lot of very good sessions about leadership, about experiences from other chapters, and it's really amazing what you can learn there. And of course, there will always be representatives from the PMI board and from the different PMI offices who will give you more information on what's happening in PMI. And then in 2012, 850 chapter leaders from around the globe participated in the first chapter volunteer role study. That is something that Jean had just mentioned. The chapter volunteer role study is a compilation of the responsibilities that the board members have on average around the world. So it's not a job description, but it just says, usually a secretary will do ABCD, a president will do this and this, a VP volunteers will do this and this, which also helps new chapters to build up the roles. And then in 2014, 650 chapter leaders, again, you can see the volunteer possibilities here, helped develop the first PMI chapter leaders onboarding guide, which is something that has been expanded now. We have an expansive onboarding program, which the board members can participate in. And it really helps you to understand more about PMI and where you fit in the system and what you need to do. Good, then the core values that PMI believes in. Earlier I shared the ones for the Pmi Kenya chapter, but these are now PMI core values. Project management impact. It's professionalism, community, engagement, and most of all, of course, volunteerism. You can see that's the center of the values, and the others fit in around it. Now, this is the org chart for PMI Global. Even the PMI Board of Directors, these are volunteers that are elected. I'm sure you have seen the elections that usually happen around July, where you're invited to elect board members and you get the briefs about who are these board members. And they, of course, have helped. They don't do the work alone, but basically this is the executive board that runs PMI together with the PMI president and chief executive officer. So you can see Sunil is sitting under the board. He reports to the board. And then you see on the left side a whole group of committees. These are the board advisory committees. And they are there in many different areas. Like you have an ethics committee, you have an accreditation committee, you have a governance committee. These are the people, these are now very senior and experienced volunteers who help the board and come up with documents and ideas and the way forward. For example, they decide on which certifications are being introduced and worked on. The ethics committee, review committee are the ones who develop the code of ethics and review it regularly. The nominating committee is the one that helps vet the people that have applied to become board members, PMI global board members. They go and vet these people and make sure that only people that qualify and meet all the requirements can be on the elections. We will go through that a little bit more when we have our next meeting. Then if you go to the right side, on the top you have the Pmi Educational Foundation, which is basically, you could call it the CRS arm of PMI. It's giving back to the community and helping, doing project management for social good. And under that, you now see the chapters, you see the president. And under the president and chief executive officer, of course, you have the management and staff who work together with the chapters to make PMI what PMI is. And then again, there is a whole group of member advisory groups, MAGs. These are also things that you can grow into in volunteer roles and apply for them. And if you look carefully, you can see that a lot of these groups are also on the board advisory group. For example, there's the ethics members advisory group. And on the other side, you see the ethics review committee. Now, the ethics review committee are the ones who basically create the rules, while the ethics member advisory group are the ones who go around and talk to chapters about ethics. They develop the ethics toolkit and those kind of things. And they also deal with any reported cases of unethical behavior. So for example, if you see that Stephanie is stealing from the chapter, which I hope she won't do, you can go and report that, and then I would have to face the ethics member advisory group. Of course, there is a whole process behind it. We don't go into that in detail now. And then there is, for example, the professional awards member advisory group, who work with other volunteers to come up with the different awards that are given out, and also the selection criteria, how people that have been nominated for the awards are being selected, etc. So you can see there is a lot of groups of different levels of volunteering that helps the PMI board of director and the PMI president and chief executive officer with their team to run PMI and to make it what it is. What are some of the benefits of volunteering? We've talked about networking. You learn new skills. You enhance your business and career. And you also build experience. And all that helps you to enhance your resume. And of course, you're also contributing to the profession, which also gives you that satisfaction of having contributed. And you receive recognition. If you are a volunteer that's registered with PMI, then PMI Global will usually send you a volunteer certificate in December. And as a chapter, we also give some kind of recognition. And we are also thinking of coming up with an award where people who have done special contributions to the chapter can be recognized. And then, of course, you get access to the PMI resources. There's the leadership development, there's PMI Learn, and there is VRMS. VRMS, of course, you know, that's where we advertise our positions. And all that Add to all that, you can also earn Pdus, as we mentioned earlier. There is a lot of programs that help support the development of volunteers. There are the Leadership Institute meetings. As I said, these meetings help you develop your leadership skills, but they also help you to learn from what other chapters have done, what other fellow volunteers have done, and how you can do your role better. Then there is the Leadership Institute virtual seminar series. There are Leadership Institute region meetings. They usually happen before the Africa conference when we have face-to-face meetings. There's the Leadership Institute Masterclass. At the moment, we don't have a masterclass because of the Corona situation, so they're totally reworking the program because it was based around 3 face-to-face meetings spread out over a year. But basically, what happens here, if you have been a chapter board member for 2 years in the last 3 years, then you qualify to apply for it. And then you go through a vetting process. And those people who are accepted, they used to accept every year between 32 and 35 people, go through a very intensive leadership program. That's a 1-year program. The only cost you had for that program was your travel cost for the 3 face-to-face meetings that happened in America. So yes, it cost me money, but at the same time, all the programs, the assessments, and the teaching that you get is worth thousands of dollars. So this is a way of PMI giving back to you all these opportunities. And to me, the Leadership Institute Masterclass was really a life-changing thing. From Kenya, we had 2 people who have gone through it. One was Clement Kititu, and the other one is myself. And we have a few other people in Africa who've gone through that program. And I think we all agree that it is really life-changing. Then there is also PMI Learn. That is something that is being built up. And you can find more and more resources there. And then, of course, there's your VRMS, the Volunteer Relationship Management System. And there is the marketing portal. Your docket head has access to the marketing portal. And in the marketing portal, you find a lot of resources. So, for example, if you want to do letters to possible sponsors, there are templates there, which you can just take and customize. This presentation is from the marketing portal. I just customized it to our needs. So you can download the whole thing. There is a ready presentation and you just customize it. And all the banners that we've done, they are basically there on the marketing portal. It's ready for you. It shows you where you have to put your chapter logo or where you have to change things. And these are tools that are very easy to use. So the question is, what's stopping me from volunteering more? Of course, people ask themselves, do I have enough time? Is it the right opportunity? Will I find the opportunity that's the right fit? Or some people may even wonder, I've never volunteered before. Why should I consider it now? As Jean said, don't let it stop you. Just show up with a positive attitude and volunteer. As a volunteer, you'll definitely have enough chances to develop your personal leadership skills. You can make a difference in the project management profession, in your community, and in your own life. Because all these things that you learn through volunteering, they will help you in your own life. Then you forge lasting relationships with other volunteers. A lot of the volunteers I've met and volunteered and interacted with have become very close personal friends. And then you'll see. The more you give, the more you'll get. Good. Yeah. That is the end of the formal presentations. Unfortunately, we don't have as much time in the allocated time slot up to 8 o'clock for questions as I had hoped for. But of course, we can extend. I think in our presentations, we have already addressed a lot of the questions that you sent me in the survey. I am really thankful for the open questions that you guys asked. Let me just address a few things that came up that we haven't addressed in the presentations yet. One is COVID impact on the initiatives. Of course, COVID has impacted us a lot. Not only that we can't meet face-to-face, but there's certain things we can't do. And what we've started now discussing among ourselves is what can we do safely? Where can we get involved? What initiatives can we do without risking our health? And from there, I can't give you a clear-cut answer on how much impact COVID will have on us. Of course, it depends on how the third wave will treat us and whether there will be a fourth wave or not. But I think we'll just have to take it as we go along. There was also another question about the increase reach to other counties in the country. That's something that we have been discussing in several or many times over the last few years. We even had an attempt to see if we can open a branch in Mombasa. But at that time, that didn't work out because we didn't find the right people who are willing to volunteer to be responsible on the ground. However, the education and professional development team is already having an outreach into the other counties. I know the membership team is thinking about a few things. So I think as we go along, we will tell you what we are planning, but definitely if you have ideas, please bring them to us. There were also several questions about commitment to roles and being proactive. I know that has been a problem in the past. However, that's not unique. Actually, every chapter in the world always has a few volunteers who are more there for the business card, for the title. Since we're volunteers, we cannot really have a penalty system or anything that you might have as a disciplinary thing in the office. However, we want to build up a way where we can develop sort of KPIs for what is expected, and then your docket head can work with you and see, are we reaching the KPIs we set for ourselves? What is stopping us from reaching in them, and are there any issues that need to be addressed? The volunteers docket is a bit like an HR department, but not with warning letters and such. But if there is issues, definitely escalate them to us, and we will develop a system how we can try and get volunteers to be more committed to their roles. However, I think also the last year has been quite taxing for everybody. And since there was no chance to have meetups like this, and we all had to struggle with getting used to the Corona situation, I think it took us a while to get our head wrapped around what we need to do. So my commitment to you is that I will at least have quarterly meetups. And as we set up our system, I think that will play a big role, because then if you're not a volunteer somewhere alone in your docket and nobody talks to you, but you're part of a group and you're feeling more part of that group, it will help us also to stay more committed. Yeah, that was another question about that. More visibility of the PMI volunteer work. That has two aspects. One is that the work you do needs to be visible. And I hope that the awards and also the updates that the different vice presidents will give will showcase more of what the volunteers do. We will work on a plan for that. And at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, I'm planning events where I also let you as the volunteers know more about the opportunities that are there within PMI Global. And we'll do another event for members. We just have to work out the details and schedule them. Then that was more to the things that you wanted to discuss. Then the expectations for the VP volunteers. I think I've answered most of the things. One question was, or one request was to deliver the best in our mandates. So we want to work on how we can enable you so that you can also perform better in your volunteer roles and it doesn't become frustrating and isolated and alone. So let's see, if you have ideas, please share them, but we will also share with you what we're planning and what we're coming up with. Then I think all the other things we've basically responded to. We want to definitely increase the number of volunteer opportunities and want to guide the chapter want to also see how we can build up and make the roles clearer. And as a team in the VP Volunteers docket, we also want to be the eyes and ears for the volunteers' issues that may come. Because if we work together as humans, we will always have issues and conflicts at times. Then, yeah, I think that is all from the questions and comments you had submitted. And now the floor is open for any questions from your side. Maybe, do you guys see that on the top of the screen, there's a chance to lift your hand? There's a smiley and a hand. If you hover over that, you see the raise hand and you see the different icons. So if any of you has any questions, please raise your hand and then I'll call you up from that. Irene, please go ahead.
Thanks, Steph. Mine is actually not a question. It's more a comment. Last year, because of COVID and of course, the fact that the board feels volunteering is such an important component, that is why we actually took the decision to have someone, especially who has that level of experience and has been a volunteer almost, for the longest time, to kind of help this space. So it's not, it's not that we're abandoning it. If anything, I think having Steph here helps us grow this a lot more, because I felt that at some point, because A, of COVID, and B, the fact that I was handling 2 heavy dockets, I felt like the volunteers were suffering and I was just not being able to give you enough time. So this is me, getting additional support. And I think we have an excellent team, and it's really a question of just having someone to focus on this and give it the effort and focus it requires. So, and I'm just really grateful for the year that has been. Even the year before, we managed to nail quite a lot, but I feel it's important for us to balance it out so that as a volunteers, as much as you're giving, you're also having someone who has your back and is able to give back to you and to provide the support that you need as a volunteer to grow yourself, right? So this is why this is important, and this is why, even at short notice, we actually set up this meeting. I think Steph kind of sent this a week ago, and almost immediately, even knowing we have meetings tomorrow, we felt it's important for you guys to sit with you and listen to you and hear your thoughts and see how else we can help. Okay, so it's not that I'm leaving or whatever. It's just it's important. This is too important a docket. We felt as a board. So yeah, that was just my comment. So thanks, Steph.
Thanks, Irene. And yeah, I think also as a board, we're off to a good start. We've had 2 very engaging meetings, and I think we've managed to start pulling the team together. So I'm looking forward to this year, and I'm excited about the things that are coming. Good. Anybody with any questions? Kashoki, I know you have a question or comment.
Hello, team. Jean and Steph. Let me say that good job so far, and this session has really informed most of us of the opportunities that we didn't really know about, or also on how to go about getting some of them, and also the need for us to be proud of the roles that we have and to really deliver on them. Thank you so much. So my question was on Pdus. What happens when somebody gets to attend the Pdus? Can they be rolled over into other years, or what usually happens? So like if you've gotten the maximum in a year or maximum within the period that you need, so what happens?
You can carry forward up to 20, but not more than that.
This provision
so like,
of carrying forward.
Now I'm in this situation that I already renewed before my renewal was due, and so then I already had the 20 that I could forward. So any PDUs I earned last year didn't actually count. But if you have too many PDUs, you can carry 20 forward into the next cycle.
It's good to know that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, and really looking forward to engagement in this space. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Steph, Elvira, if you check your profile, where it says next cycle, there's actually a link that says check how many PDUs you can carry over. It automatically carries it over for you. So if you can just check your profile, there's somewhere in the PDUs. I should have logged in and showed you. Give me a sec. I'll show you as the next person asks a question. I'll show you in my profile, and you'll see how it's done. There's a link that shows you that. But yeah, Steph, back to you.
Yeah, let me specify. This is now for the PMP certification. For the others, I don't know it offhand, because the other certifications have a different number that you can carry forward. But when you go to your CCRS handbook that you can download from the certification page on pmi.org, it gives you the exact details there as well. Good.
Yeah, Stephanie, this is Jean. Let me just add on to that, because that's an important question, and especially because of the PMPs, the new PMPs who came in last year. A lot of people are asking questions about PDUs, and this year we are going to be having regular sessions. Abdul is already working on this, so that we can have kind of orientations about how you can get your PDUs, how you can log them, and which areas can you be able to earn PDUs, because it's not just as a volunteer. Remember, as a practitioner in project management, you automatically get 8. You get free PDUs just for being in the trade and for doing the work that you're doing. So we are going to have ongoing sessions for that. So we're working really well with Abdul so that we can grow that area. And then the other thing is that, like for me, if you do your PDUs, you'd rather even get excess PDUs and just keep carrying them over, because you can even do 2 cycles ahead, which is what I've done. You find that actually the more you work, the more PDUs you earn, and the more that you can be able to renew ahead, and you can do it for quite a while. I just wanted to say one thing, Stephanie. We have encouraged a lot the volunteers, and we thank all the volunteers for working. For the volunteers, remember, if you find that you're also overwhelmed by your work, and you find that maybe you've gotten to a stage where you can't be able to keep up to support the team the way that you need to, it's okay just to say, you know what, I can't be able to do it. That is part of being a team player, so that somebody else can actually fill in your spot, and you can give the opportunity to somebody else who might have a bit of free time. So if you find that you're completely, your work is taking you're being overly stretched, feel free just to to tell Stephanie, look, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this term. It doesn't mean that you're going to not get your PDUs. The other thing is, I wanted to congratulate Elvira, because you are our liaison for women in projects, Elvira. So I'm looking forward to working with you so that we can build up that particular area. So thank you for being one of the volunteers on the CNT team, and for being in the group. Thank you.
Thanks, Jean. Let me hand back to Irene, because I can see she's sharing
the
screen.
Steph, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Give me a second. Let me show you. So Elvira, if you see here where it says see what PDUs applied to my next cycle, it actually shows you. So I'm done, but I'm renewing in August. But it actually shows you what PDUs have applied to your next cycle, and it literally does it for you. So you wouldn't need to do much. There you go. So it shows you what's in your next cycle. Yeah, and then now it'll tell you. So just check your profile. You should be able to see it.
Thanks. Actually, as PMI has revamped the pmi.org website and your login websites, there is a lot of very useful links that they have introduced. So when you have some time, spend some time playing around with your login to see all the new things and the new links that they have made. Good. Good. Next question. Anybody? Who else wants to ask any questions to us while you still have us online? Wow, I think we have overwhelmed you with information. Now, my question to everybody here. I was saying earlier that I'm thinking of doing such meetups for all. That okay for you, or would you want to have it more often or less often? Maybe you don't want to see me that often. Maybe some of you can comment on that. That is now meeting as a whole group as volunteers, not in your section. Of course, meetings in your section, in your docket will be different. Yes, Jan Erik, go ahead.
Yeah, I think a quarterly meeting is fine. And thanks a lot for this meeting. I think it was very useful. And it's nice to see also the team that is working on the volunteering activities.
Thanks. And I can see in the text there was also a comment saying that starting with, that's from Elvira. Meetings are good, frequent meetings are good. We can start with quarterly. Who else wants to comment on that? And as I said, as soon as we can safely meet, I want to organize a face-to-face meeting and maybe combine it with an outing or so. But we will let you know in good advance, in good time, so that we can plan for that. Any other comments in regards to the meetings? Good. Anybody have any final words before we hand over to Jean to close up the meeting? I don't see any hands raised. So, Jean, could I ask you to close the meeting for us? And thanks everybody for your participation and for showing up. We had more than half of the volunteers here, so I'm very happy with that.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. And you've caught me by surprise there. I was just walking into my door. Let me thank Stephanie also on behalf of the volunteers for just giving us a really good talk. I think this was very timely, and I'm glad that, like most people said, that it has really helped them. It has also helped me. So I'm hoping that we are starting off with a bang. And I want to say that if nobody noticed that there was a change in the leadership, that is good. That is very good. That means that we still kept the lights on, and you didn't feel any, and the boat tilting or shifting, and that is a good sign, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. Let's feel more of your impact, because volunteers are really critical to the success of the chapter. And let me just thank all the board members for being on this group. Steve, Steph for organizing it, Irene as usual on events. We've got Lynette and Ron and everybody else who joined this meeting. Just want to thank you all. Thanks, Stephanie. And we look forward to a lot more. Stephanie, back to you.
Yep, thanks a lot. I was just responding to someone in the chat who was saying that they wanted the presentations to be shared.
Yes.
So I will share both presentations, and I'm sure, Jean, you'll share the presentation with me, yours, so that we can also PDF it and send it to all the volunteers, even the ones who didn't come couldn't make it today.
Yes, I will. And may I encourage everybody to please show up for the AGM, which Ron, our secretary, has sent out a notice for. Thank you.
Yeah. And also, of course, tomorrow we have our monthly event. So thanks, everybody, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Steph. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. You can reach out to Steph and we can proceed. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.